Chapter 1. The glance that started it all. The rain had just begun to fall. Thin silver threads against the glass window of Aroma Café. Lena sat by the corner table, sketchbook open, her cup of coffee untouched and slowly losing its warmth. The city felt enormous, all noise and motion. But inside this little cafe, the world seemed to pause. She wasn't used to the city's rhythm yet. Back home in her seaside town, life moved like the tide, gentle, predictable. But here, everything was faster, louder, and lonelier. She looked up, and that was when it happened. Their eyes met. Across the room, a man in a dark gray coat looked straight at her. Not the casual glance of a stranger, but something deeper. His gaze was calm, curious, almost as if he knew her from another lifetime. For a second, the sounds of the cafe disappeared. The clinking of cups, the laughter, the rain, all gone. Only silence and his eyes. She looked away first, pretending to study her sketch, her heart drumming too loud. When she looked again, he was gone. And yet the world didn't feel the same anymore. Chapter 2. The second encounter. It took 3 weeks for their paths to cross again. She was running late for her evening art class when she nearly collided with someone turning the corner. Papers scattered, pencils rolled across the floor. "I'm so sorry," she began, and then stopped. It was him. The same eyes, the same calm presence. He bent down, helping her collect her sketches. "No harm done," he said with a small smile. His voice was low, warm, and oddly familiar. "You draw," he noticed, glancing at the sketches. Faces, moments, shadows. "Yes," she replied shyly. "Trying to." "Then don't try," he said softly, handing the papers back. "Just draw." And before she could ask his name, he was gone again, melting into the flow of the crowd. But this time she smiled, because now he wasn't just a stranger, he was someone she wanted to meet again. Chapter 3. Coffee and Conversations. It happened naturally. A week later, she saw him again at the cafe. This time he approached her. "Mind if I sit here?" "Not at all," she said, pretending to be calm. They talked about art, books, city lights, small fears, big dreams. His name was Ethan Cole. He worked in architecture, though his words carried the softness of someone who understood beauty beyond blueprints. With him, silence felt comfortable. Every word shared felt real, like an echo of something unspoken. When he laughed, his eyes softened. When he listened, he really listened. And Lena, who had always been quiet, found herself wanting to speak more, not to impress him, but to be known. Chapter 4. The Slow Bloom. Weeks turned into months. They met often, sometimes by plan, sometimes by chance. Their friendship became the rhythm of her days. He'd wait for her after her class. They'd walk under city lights, talking about everything and nothing. He once said, "It's strange. You meet so many people in life, but sometimes just one person feels like home." She didn't answer then, but her heart did. Love wasn't sudden. It was gentle, growing in moments of laughter, silence, and shared glances. One evening on the bridge that overlooked the river, he took her hand. "Lena," he whispered, "I think I was meant to find you." And under the city's lights, she realized she felt the same. Chapter 5. Shadows of the Past. But Ethan carried a silence she couldn't quite reach. Sometimes his eyes would drift away mid-laughter, lost somewhere far. When she asked, he only smiled and said, "Some stories aren't ready to be told yet." She didn't push. She loved him too much to force words he wasn't ready to share. But love has its seasons. The warmth of closeness can't always melt the cold of pain. One rainy night, he didn't show up. No message, no call, just absence. When she finally saw him days later, his face was pale, tired. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I had to deal with something." She only nodded, but deep inside, she began to sense there was something more, something he was hiding. Chapter 6. The Letter. He disappeared for 3 weeks. Then came the letter, folded neatly, left at her door. "Lena, there are truths I should have told you earlier. I didn't want to hurt you, but silence has its own cruelty. I'm sick, Lena. I've been fighting it for a year. The doctors say time is uncertain. I didn't want you to waste your days watching me fade. But I also can't stop thinking about you. You made me remember what hope feels like. You made me live again. Please forgive me, Ethan." The world fell silent. Tears blurred the words, but she read them again and again, as if her heart refused to understand. She had loved a man made of sunlight, and now she realized that light was fading. Chapter 7. Holding On. She found him in the hospital garden, sitting beneath a cherry blossom tree. When he saw her, he froze, then looked down, ashamed. "You shouldn't have come," he said. She knelt beside him. Then you don't know me at all. They didn't speak for a long time. She held his hand, thin, cold, trembling, and whispered, "You don't have to protect me from love." And in that moment, he wept. Not from pain, but from surrender. Chapter 8. Days of Light. She stayed. Through the hospital visits, through the fading seasons. They painted together, watched sunsets, shared stories. Every day became smaller, yet more precious. He once told her, "Love isn't about forever, Lena. It's about now. About who you are when you love someone." And she understood, because even as his body weakened, his heart remained infinite. Chapter 9. The Final Sunset. One evening as the sun dipped low, he asked her to take him to the river, the same place where he had once held her hand. They sat quietly. The air smelled like rain. "Promise me something," he said softly. "Anything. When I'm gone, keep drawing. Keep seeing the world the way you do, as if it's beautiful, even when it hurts." She tried to smile, but her tears betrayed her. He looked at her one last time and smiled that same gentle smile from the café. "When our eyes met, Lena," he whispered. "That moment changed everything for me." And then, silence. The wind moved, the river shimmered, and the world once again changed. Chapter 10. After the Rain. A year later, Lena's first art exhibition opened. On the center wall hung a painting, a man in a gray coat, standing beneath a cherry blossom tree, looking toward the light. The title, When Eyes Met. People stopped to stare. Some cried without knowing why. And somewhere in that quiet space, Lena felt him, not as a memory, but as a presence woven into her every heartbeat. Love hadn't ended. It had simply changed shape.